Kathy Duva still wants to make this Sergey Kovalev Sullivan Barrera fight. She promotes both Kovalev and Barrera. She's been pushing for the fight for a while. Barrera keeps turning it down. He's turned it down at least twice now. She has spoken to Barrera's management and his people, and she says she understands their decision to take on Bivol rather than take on Kovalev, because the idea is they take on Bivol and they're confident of beating Bivol. They win that title. It puts them in a better situation to negotiate a Kovalev fight because they can ask for more money, basically. So Kathy Duva says she respects that and she hopes the gamble pays off for Sullivan Barrera, so we can fight Kovalev in a unification and make more money. That's the that's ostensibly the reason that Team Barrera are giving for not taking the Kovalev fight at the moment, because they were actually offered more money to fight Kovalev than they're getting for the Bivol fight. Anyway, Kathy Duva in this article, which I'll leave a link to in the description below, talks about the fact that Kovalev wants to fight Beterbiev, and her understanding is Beterbiev also wants to fight Kovalev. The issue, though, is that, as Kathy Duva says here, Beterbiev is in a dispute with his promoter Yvonne Michel, and until he resolves that, it's impossible to make the fight because Kathy Duva don't know who to negotiate with. So, yeah, Beterbiev's going to need to sort that mess out when it comes to his promotional situation before he can sit down and hope to do a fight with Sergey Kovalev unification. That's unfortunate because it's definitely a fight that the majority of us want to see. We want to see these two light heavyweights square off. They've got rivalry from the amateur days. Beterbiev beat Kovalev, I believe, twice, but Kovalev claims that there was bias in favor of Beterbiev. He believes that he really won those fights. I don't know if it's true, but one of those fights I'd heard or I'd read somewhere on the internet, in one of those fights, Beterbiev actually stopped Kovalev. That might not be true, so don't take that as gospel, but that's where I did read somewhere. I'm not sure. Maybe he won both fights on points. But yeah, Kovalev to this day is adamant that there was some type of political bias, and that's why Beterbiev got the decisions. Whatever the case may be, it sets up an interesting situation for the rematch as professionals. A rematch that we all would love to see, because these two guys are probably the biggest punching light heavyweights out there. Bivol is looking like a bit of a banger, and we know Vodcek can bang too, but I'd say most people would say Kovalev, Beterbiev, and maybe Stevenson are the biggest punches. But whoever talks about Stevenson these days? I know he's got a Badou Jack fight coming up, and you know, maybe he'll put his name back in the mix as being a serious champion if he takes Badou Jack out in good fashion. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But for now, a lot of people would regard these two to be the biggest punching light heavyweights out there, Kovalev and Beterbiev. So we definitely want to see them square off. They got the history, and they're both aggressive fighters. You know, none of these guys are going to try and go in there and box on their back foot. We haven't seen it. Maybe little parts in spots from Beterbiev where he tried to box on the back foot a little bit, but for the most part, they both come forward. They both sling very heavy lever, and they look to take people out. And one of the most intriguing things for me was that a common opponent, Gabriel Campillo, said that Artur Beterbiev hits harder than Kovalev. And Kovalev hits extremely hard. I mean, just look at the way he took care of Shabransky recently. He's a tremendous puncher. And they're saying, well, Campillo saying that Beterbiev hits even harder? Crazy. But interestingly, Campillo said Beterbiev hits harder, but he would pick Kovalev to beat Beterbiev. He says Kovalev has the better skills and he's the better boxer, but Beterbiev has more brute power. And I guess you can kind of see that. Kovalev looks like a sharper boxer to me than Beterbiev. Beterbiev looks bigger physically, so I can imagine him being even more heavy-handed than Kovalev is. So yeah, let me know what you feel about this situation. Will we ever get to see this clash? Hopefully, man, I hope Beterbiev can sort his promotional situation out. And if they do clash anytime soon, who would you guys be picking? Kovalev or Beterbiev? Drop your comments in the comment section below and let me know how you feel. It's Hatman, I'm out.